Brothers, sisters, and fellow travelers, I'm the Stormy Poet, and this is Poethnic Justice. As most of you have probably heard already, there was an incident where a submersible, which is basically a miniature submarine, went missing while on an expedition to explore the wreckage of the Titanic in the Atlantic. The passengers on the 21-foot sub were British businessman Hamish Harding, Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood, his teenage son Sulman, French explorer Paul Henry Nargeolet, and Stockton Rush, CEO of OceanGate, the company that operates the vessel. The sub went missing on June 19th, and since then it has received wall-to-wall coverage on all major news outlets. By the way, those networks absolutely crave events like this because they're not really in the business of giving the public news they can actually use. Their job is to get as many eyeballs as possible on the screen for the purposes of generating as much attention as possible on behalf of their sponsors. That's why you see the same commercials playing over and over again during any news segment. They're far more concerned with reporting stories of drama and gossip because they know that's what's sexy and alluring than they are with empowering the public with the information they present. Eventually, as so many grimly expected, the wreckage of the craft was found 1,600 feet away from the sunken ship, and it was soon determined it suffered a catastrophic implosion. Now, for those who don't know, the deeper you dive in the ocean, the greater the oceanic pressure increases, much like the further down you go in the Earth's atmosphere, the greater the air pressure increases, which we human beings are built to withstand. Being that water is much more denser than air, the pressure of the ocean is far greater than that of our atmosphere. The Titanic wreckage is 12,500 feet from the surface of the ocean. Now, family, that's about 2.5 miles down, so it's almost 3 miles of water weighing down on any given object. Due to reasons unknown at the moment, the immense pressure ended up violently imploding the craft and instantly killing everyone on board. On a side note, family, when it comes to certain risk-taking, adrenaline junkie activities certain people like to engage in, I've just never been one for it. There are just some things I'm cool with never experiencing in my life, and I don't really feel one scintilla of regret for not doing them. I just really don't need to bungee jump or go skydiving or mountain climbing or petting tigers to feel alive. But what can I say? That's just me. I'm not judging anyone else who does things like that, nor am I judging those passengers who went on that dive, but I just don't believe in risking my life to have some type of thrill. That's too high of a price for a thrill to me, but I digress. Now, while this event was definitely tragic, I want to pose 2 questions to the family I feel we, as the Black collective, should start asking a lot more when it comes to the media we consume on a regular basis. Question 1. What exactly about what this newscaster is reporting to me has to do with me? And question 2, how is what they're presenting to me going to benefit me? Because the truth be told, I only found out about this story via some coworkers of mine. I'm very discerning and segregated when it comes to the information I allow to take up space in my mind. I only click on articles and look into headlines that I feel are going to contain some type of information that I can use to my benefit as a Black man, or that I feel is something that the family needs to be made aware of. When you have Black people around the water cooler at the job or at the dinner table, and the majority of their conversations consist of gossipy or drama-filled or so-called news topics like this one, I find that incredibly disturbing. The wealth this country enjoys, and the wealth Britain enjoys, which is the country one of the victims is from, was built on over 2 centuries of forced labor, torture, rape, forced incest, broken families, and death. And the descendants of those who built that wealth are at the bottom of every metric in the society in education, law, health, and wealth. On top of that, this current administration has taken a diehard vow to flood as many legal immigrants as possible in the Black neighborhoods and to starve the Black community out of the meager resources we did manage to get despite the onslaught of oppression we've endured in this den of vipers known as America. I just saw a statistic in the news that said that over half the people living in Texas are now Latino. They now even outnumber the white people in Texas. While what happened was tragic, what is infinitely more tragic is what's been done to us as a people and how this country in all of existence has never given back to us what it stole and continues to steal. It was stated that the cost of the submersible trip to see the Titanic was $250,000. Now, family, you name for me outside of celebrities and sports figures, the last Black person you knew of who had an extra $250K lying around to see some wreckage of a ship that sunk 111 years ago, just for the purposes of being able to brag that they did it to their circle of other Black billionaire friends at some cocktail party. Things like reparations should absolutely dominate our daily discussions and conversations as Black people. Topics like this one don't have a damn thing to do with what we need to be focused on. We have to be extremely disciplined and stridently selective when it comes to what we choose to allow into our ears and eyes on a daily basis, and we have to stop acting like it doesn't have an effect on how we think. Accomplishing the gargantuan task of getting what we're owed in this country is going to require us to be on code, and part of being on code means being cautious about what information you choose to allow to have space in your mind. When tragedies like this occur to white people, the white media is quick to garner sympathy from the public, and they train the public to see the humanity of the victims. When tragedies like this happen to black people, though, such like the water crisis in Jackson, Mississippi, you hear a brief ho-hum and then it's back to the next headline. That trains the public to ignore black issues and to mentally sweep what's happening to us in America under the rug. Well, family, we're not going for it. Anytime the media pushes out a story designed to distract us from what this country owes us, always take the conversation back to reparations. Oh, there was a car bomb that exploded in Iraq today. That doesn't concern me. Reparations. Oh, there was a wildfire in Canada today. Don't care. Reparations. Donald Trump said something really racist today. What else is new? Cut the check. 5 people were killed today in a submarine accident near the Titanic. While that is indeed sad and heartbreaking, millions of us are dying under the system called white supremacy. We'll talk about those other things later, once I get my reparations. One love and one justice. The Stormy Poet.